All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most important purchases you'll make for your home, the refrigerator. It can get really confusing out there, so today we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a super simple guide to choosing the one that's just a perfect fit for you. I mean, have you ever walked into an appliance store? If you have, you know this feeling. The sheer number of styles, features, and sizes, it can be absolutely dizzying. But trust me, it's not nearly as complicated as it looks.
By the end of this, you are going to have a clear game plan. You'll be able to walk into any store with total confidence, knowing exactly what you're looking for. So let's just dive right in.
We've broken this down into 5 really simple steps. First, we're going to talk about the absolute non-negotiables, your space. Then, we'll find a style that actually fits your life. After that, we'll look at what really matters on the inside, check on performance, and finally, we'll figure out which of those bells and whistles are actually worth your money.
Okay, first things first. Seriously, before you even think about stainless steel or smart features, you gotta break out the measuring tape. Getting this wrong is the #1 mistake people make, and it's a big one. So this is where you have to be precise. Get the exact width, height, and depth of that space. Then, and this is a pro tip, so listen up, you need to add 1 to 2 inches on all sides for air circulation. Without that breathing room, your fridge is gonna work way harder, use more energy, and it just won't last as long. Next, think about the doors. Can they swing all the way open without smacking into a counter or an island? And finally, map out the delivery path. You really don't want your beautiful new fridge stuck on the front porch because it couldn't make a turn in the hallway. Now you've got to decide on the installation type. Freestanding is what you see most often. It's super versatile and way more budget-friendly. But if you want that sleek, almost invisible look, you're looking at a counter depth or a built-in model. They sit perfectly flush with your cabinets, which looks amazing. Just be aware, you often trade a little bit of interior space for that style, and yeah, the price tag is going to be significantly higher. Okay, now that we've got the logistics of space handled, we can get to the really fun part. Picking a layout that actually matches how you live and eat. This is all about your habits, so think about it. Are you constantly reaching for frozen stuff? Then a top freezer makes sense. It keeps everything at eye level. But maybe you're more of a fresh food person. In that case, a bottom freezer puts all the fresh stuff right where you can see it. Side-by-sides, they're fantastic for organization, but you can imagine trying to fit a giant frozen pizza in there might be a tight squeeze. In French door models, their huge advantage is those wide shelves for things like party platters, plus the smaller doors are perfect for kitchens without a ton of space.
So we've picked this dial. Now let's look past the shiny exterior and figure out what makes an interior actually, functional.
Here is a great rule of thumb to just lock away in your memory. Plan for about 5 cubic feet of space per person in your house. It's that simple. So if you're a family of 4, you should be looking in that 20 to 25 cubic foot range. It's a fantastic starting point. But that brings us to a really critical question. Is all of that space they advertise actually usable space? Well, the answer might just surprise you. And here is the hidden truth. See, manufacturers measure the capacity of the completely empty box before they put in all the shelves, the drawers, the ice makers. So what happens? You can see it right here. Some of those bottom freezer and side-by-side models lose over 30% of the space you thought you were getting. The most space efficient? That classic top freezer. It gives you way more of the cubic feet you're actually paying for. That's a huge deal. So when you're in the store, look for these things. The features that make the inside really work. Adjustable shelves for tall items like wine bottles or soda, that's a must. Humidity-controlled crispers, they really do keep your vegetables from wilting. And don't underestimate the simple things, like deep door bins for milk jugs, and clear drawers so you can see what you have at a quick glance instead of digging around. Okay, let's talk performance. Your fridge runs 24/7, so there are 2 things that are going to impact your daily life, day in and day out. How much energy it uses and how much noise it makes. The difference in energy use can be absolutely staggering. Just look at this chart. The classic top freezer is by far the most efficient, but then look how much higher those bars get for the bottom freezer and French door models. We're talking nearly double the electricity. So whatever style you're leaning toward, you've got to find that Energy Star logo. And what about noise? If you've got an open concept kitchen, this really matters. A typical fridge hums along around 60 decibels, but the quietest models can get down to 50. To put that in perspective, that's kind of like the difference between a normal conversation and a quiet library. Just keep in mind that models with ice and water dispensers do tend to be a little bit loud. All right, we've covered all the essentials. For our last section, let's talk about the extras. This is where you really separate what you truly need from what's just a cool but pretty expensive novelty. Let's start with the biggest one, the indoor ice and water dispenser. I mean, the convenience is undeniable, right? But you have to weigh that against the cons. It eats up a ton of valuable freezer space, it uses more energy, and this is a big one. It's one of the most common things to break and need repairs on a refrigerator.
And then you've got the whole world of smart fridges. Now, some of these features are genuinely useful. An alert on your phone if the door is left open? That's great. An internal camera so you can check if you need milk while you're at the store? Pretty cool. But then you get into things like built-in music players. Before you spend hundreds, maybe even thousands more, just ask yourself one simple, honest question. Will I actually use this in a year?
Here's a feature you might see that's surprisingly common: Sabbath mode. It's designed for a religious observance, and it lets you disable all the electronic displays, the lights, and the sounds for a set period of time. It's a great example of a feature that's absolutely essential for some people, but that a lot of others might not even be familiar with.
And there you have it. From the exact dimensions of your kitchen all the way down to the details of a crisper drawer, you now have the complete checklist. You can make a confident, really informed decision. So, as you head out to shop, just remember this one thing. It's not about finding the fridge with the longest list of features. It's about finding the one that seamlessly fits your space, your budget, and the unique way your family actually lives and eats. The perfect fridge is out there for you, and now you know exactly how to find it.